Thank you. Thank you. Well, I had a committee meeting with the Holy Spirit, and we sat down and watched part one of meditation. And my hat is off to anyone that listened or watched the whole thing. I couldn't even watch the whole thing. One good thing about it is that 34 years ago I did a video of myself. It took about 4 hours about being honest. And when I sat down to watch it, all I watched was myself lying. Talk about an eye-opener. So the good thing I can say is about part one of meditation, that's I was entirely honest. I'm not sure I was very clear. Holy Spirit and I sat down and watched that, and at one time I said, "Oh, I just need to redo this," and Holy Spirit said, "Oh, no. So sometime we'll get something out of it." One thing I also noticed was that I often closed my eyes and I didn't look at the camera, and a lot of that is because it seems like I'm probably accessing right thinking or Holy Spirit when I'm looking up and to the right, and when my eyes go around and around, I'm kind of soul searching, and at least that's what I'm coming up with it for now. As I mentioned before, this is new technology for me, and yet I feel guided to do it, and hoping someone will get something out of it. Perhaps someday an editor will come out of me, or it's come to me, or maybe not. I did jot down a couple of things that I wanted to mention. I'll try to not make this one so long because I really want to get into the technique. Whenever I've taught this meditation style or technique, it was usually preceded by a day or two of chit-chat, and I might start it off with something like, "Wow, did you see the sunset last night?" Yeah. "Oh, yeah." Say, "Oh, well, you know the sun doesn't set, don't you?" They would go, "Oh, well, yeah, right." I said, "But we call it the sunset, and we act like it's the sunset, but we really know that our perceptions of the sunset is incorrect, that it's the earth moving." Well, that's kind of a little trick, but my point was that our perceptions, our sensory devices, our eyes and our ears and our nose, are pretty frail and not very good at picking up a lot of information. And I mean the bandwidth of light is so long that our minuscule bit of light that our eyes picks up is so minimum, and wherever there's optic nerves, there's blank spots in the pictures that's sent to the brain, and our brain just goes ahead and fills in those blank spots. Say, "Oh, well, I know what that looks like, so I'll just fill that in." And of course we know that the picture sent in the brain is upside down and backwards and concave or convex or something like that. So it's and dogs can smell better than us, hear better than us. So our human sensory pickup devices are very limited. And then the information that gets to the brain is distorted, categorized, generalized, rationalized, and for convenience sake. For instance, if I mention chair, you might think of a wooden chair like at your grandmother's house. I might think of the recliner, the cloth recliner that I have. So, and how many different kinds of chairs are there? I mean, probably an infinite amount of chairs. But we don't need to, for conversation's sake, we don't generally need to, unless we're shopping for chairs, need to specify what kind of chair we're talking about. So the brain just kind of categorizes that, generalizes that, and we can go ahead and communicate in our conversation and mention a chair and not have to go into detail about that. Well, that's a double-edged sword. This generalization and categorizing that our organic brain up here does eliminates information, or at least temporarily eliminates this information, and then that's good because we can hold conversations. But it's bad when it comes into seeing what's really there, knowing what's really around us, smelling, and all of those kind of things. So our sensory perceptions, in my opinion, and the way I interpret a lot of different teachings, is that our sensory perceptions are our downfall. And that we're glad that we have them so that we can function and enjoy this world that we're in now, even though this world is rooted in some things that are undesirable. But I'm glad that I can smell and taste and touch and hear and see, and that you can too, if you can do all of those. But at the same time, those perceptions is what, in my opinion, prevents me from knowing reality. I've got a made-up reality up here. Now, something else I noticed about watching part one is that I didn't use A Course in Miracle terms very much, and I probably did that on purpose, so that it may be more universal in terms or comfortable for others. But I'm going to stop that now and just go on and say that the ego framework is based upon perceptions of perceptions. What our body eyes see, what our body ears hear. And if I want to unblock that, which is love, I've got to undo or reverse the ego thinking so that I can experience love, which can't be defined. And it's beyond perceptions, and it's beyond language. But the lessons, that's what the lessons are for. And the text, too, helps that turnaround and also helps in rebuilding for a happy dream. I'm pausing right now because I just don't know where I want to go. Okay. In part one, I mentioned 1982. I made a note of it here. And I didn't go into a lot of detail about that. What happened in 1982 for me, and I don't want to get into a big story about it. But it was like suddenly my ego just vanished. And The experience was beyond words. And I didn't really do anything to make the ego vanish. I was just totally defeated. And the ego vanished, I guess, because it lost, it gave up. and as a result, I experienced a luxurious bliss that I can only equate to love. It was beyond this. In part one, I talked about the other dimension. But it was love that I was experiencing. I was love. I was being loved. I was loving, even though I was still and just enjoying it. And I also mentioned about being a blibbering idiot, sounding like a blibbering idiot, because I tried to explain it to others, and there wasn't any words for it because it's a non-language kind of experience. But it did send me on a search for common experiences and languages to be able to explain it. And I don't try to expend a lot of time trying to explain love. That really kind of, I'd rather just be it and do it as best as I can. I also wrote down stopping thoughts, and I know I mentioned in part one that it's not really what I was doing. It was what I was trying to do. That's what I thought I was supposed to be doing, and it was what I was trying to do. And there were many, many instances, varying amounts of time in those instances, to where it did seem like that I was absent of thought. And those instances are undefinable. The immensity beyond form, beyond the ego mind, it's an immovable stillness and extreme joy and love, but it was later that I really found out that I wasn't really stopping thoughts entirely, maybe in a few instances. But now I see it as evolved to that I'm just going beyond perceptions of perceptions. And I'm going beyond the present. And even getting into the present is a good start, but the present is not now. The present is being aware of my surroundings, what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, what I'm touching, what kind of feelings, how's the clothes fitting on me. Can I feel my heartbeat? Can I hear my heartbeat? Can I hear the traffic outside? Do I hear the cat meow? These are all present types of things. And being right here in the present, it's really easy to stay out of fear, because there's nothing to fear right here, right now, at this time, in the present. So getting into the present. See, my dog's barking. She likes to bark, but that's in the present. And being in the present, there's not the past bugging me. There's not the future bugging me. It's just kind of relaxing. And so starting by getting into the present, and I do mean, I try to tune into all of my senses, both inside and outside. Do I have any inner pictures going on inside of my head? Do I have any dialogue, any internal dialogue going on? Am I hearing something other than my voice and the ringing in my ears? I hear the refrigerator humming. This is all now stuff. I see I'm already into 15 minutes, and I haven't got anywhere near where I wanted to get. So I'll stop and say that I thank you for listening. If you are listening, uh, I hope you're getting something out of it. I'll be glad to answer any kind of questions. Like I said earlier in the first one, this is a 30-year venture for me, and I could never cover all the ground that I could just never cover it all. So in the next one, if the committee in between the Holy Spirit and myself agree, the next one will be actually starting to practice in front of you the technique. So you can find me on Facebook, Perry Calton. My email address is pcalton707@gmail.com. I think on Facebook you can even find my phone number. I do a lot of phone calls. I love phone calls. Sometimes I need to schedule them. But I hope this is some help for you. And I'll sign off. Love. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.